Hi guys. Hello, Adam, Cher, Gian, Ignacio, James, and Nick. I apologize because I cannot give you the sound. It was much more with the sound, but I'm a scaredy cat. I got scared of the robot that got in and screamed. So if you want to talk, please chat. Please say, I want to talk. Hello, James. Hi there. And yes, in the chat, you can say hello and tell us where you're coming from. Okay, hello. And where are you? Okay, so we have Dallas. All right. Hi, Adam. Okay, wonderful. Really, yes. Very nice. And I'll give you the link, the one that you need. I will share the screen. Here's the share screen button. Okay. And here is the link that you need. It is right here. This one. And I'm giving you the Zoom on Bitly so that it's easy to copy. And I'm giving it to you on chat. Here's the chat. So that's our webinar. Okay, so you can click on that, and some of you have already clicked on that because I see those little cute pictures. You see an elephant and a lion and all of them. That's great. And for those especially who are here for the first time, I'll tell you that that is our webinar. It's been around for a couple of years, and it's going up in the sense that today is May 31st, and that's where we are right now. But you can look at what happened before, and all of them are down below. But we're doing that today, and usually the structure is like that. And keep in mind, just ask me if you want to ask question or just chat. Okay, so what you have here is the webinar folder. That's our own folder, and it has all the additional things that I prepare for you, that if they are not linked, but if they are PDF, let's say, it will be stored in this folder. So I'll open it for a second and show you that that's where all that stuff is. But that stuff only makes sense when you click. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, usually I talk about theory and practice, even though, yeah, I can put the word practice here. Okay, and that's where the use of that comes in, because I try everything that I talk about. All right, and with that preface, we can start. I'll start with the news. Now, the news usually come from Andrew Ng, from also other sources. But again, I'm only interested in something that you can use as a developer. And obviously, my preference is for developers because I'm myself a developer, or a software developer. Okay, so in this news, which you can click and look at all of them, but I'm only giving you those that interest me, is how do we test a big system that is built on LLM? Now, if you go down below, I'll be talking about a new course and a new way of building on LLM. It's called Agentic, and it comes from Microsoft and I believe Penn University, and it is about building bigger systems with LLMs, multiple agents talking to each other. That's what it will be about. But because of that, Andrew is interested in how do you test them? Let's think of it. It used to be that you write JUnit tests or similar tests, and you know what answers you will get. Life was easy because you could only get a specific answer. If you get it, success. If you don't get it, failure. But with LLM, you get, first of all, different answers. Now, life is easy when you get either yes or no. It's still checkable. But if it can answer anything, what is the measure of how do I know it's good or no? Well, the problem is exacerbated by this. When you begin testing, you spend so much money on testing. It's when the real expense begins. When I'm running a system, let's say a reasonable system for lawyers, and I know that in a month of all use by everyone, maybe a couple hundred people, but maybe 2 dozen active users, I spend $100. And that's a lot of use, but a lot of practical use. But if you're testing, you might run into thousands and millions. And there, Andrew has no answer. No, none. You can set up another LLM to check the first one, but that's only the first idea. So that's what he's talking about, because anyway, we're going to talk about how to create big systems where by its name, you know that you're talking about agents, and agents obviously chat nonstop. The first example is stand-up comedians. So you can imagine how much data you will generate with LLM. He also mentioned an interesting survey. The survey was done on 3,800 workers. Admittedly, not that many, over 31 countries, and it turns out that 75% of them use AI in their work. Think of it, 75% of all workers in the world use AI. And then he brings more and more numbers from the study, equally impressive, because it doesn't matter what the age. Old use it and young use it, right? So it's an amazing thing. You can see that in this link. That will be the review. But really what I'm interested is the Agentic. So we'll look at where it's from and what it is, and then we'll do some coding. Let's start. So first of all, here is the course itself. And as you can see from Microsoft Penn State and Deep Learning AI, that's the actual course. If I click on that, they will start talking. And I will do that because the two people that you see there, in addition to Andrew Ng, the two people are Chi Wang and Qin Jun Wu. They are the creators. And since they are the creators, it makes a difference. Makes a difference. You get smarter by looking at their faces. That's my own personal theory. And let's look for that. For us to look at it, I need to stop share. I need to share again. But this time I'm sharing with the sound. Okay? So let's go. Let's spend a few minutes to watch the introduction.
Welcome to AI Agentic Design Patterns with AutoGen, both in partnership with Microsoft. I'm joined by the instructors Chi Wang, who's principal researcher at Microsoft, and Jingyu Wu, who's assistant professor at Penn State University, both of whom are co-creators of AutoGen.
Thanks, Andrew. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, the usual introduction. That's why I'm stopping it here. I'm excited to be here. So we really want to see the code and what it does. And I'll tell you first the beginning of the code, because it's more fun to see the code. Okay, for that, I have already prepared the, that's my code, but I'll tell you where it is, where you can find it. So in here, if you go to the repository, GitHub repository, right here, you will see I collect lots of courses. That's the story. You will see all of them, and today we're talking about Agentic. That's running on GitHub, but then I will show you the same thing running on my local computer. So that's a proof that it really is working. That's where you will find it. Again, I'm giving you the link. Here. And let's start. In order to run that, you need to go to the command line. I'll show how to do it, but I'm not going to run it again. It's already running. So first I go to the right repository here. That's only for those people who are usually doing this. That's what you would have to do in order to run. And you also need to set up the environment. So you say conda activate OpenAI. That is where I collect all the OpenAI stuff and related to OpenAI. So here now I say Jupyter Lab and run. I'm not going to do it because I already did it. It's running. And now after that, it runs on localhost. Let me show you here, localhost 8888, which is the proof that I'm really running it. So the very first one stands up a few stand-up comedians. And obviously that's a very fun example that they chose. You need, when you set it up, I have already prepared everything for you. So you need one utils.py, which is the local file. That's how you get to the key. Now, as you will see in number 5, it wouldn't work out of the box. You do have to do some tweaks because when they run it in this environment. You see, that's the environment that they run, but it's on their service. No guarantee that it will work for you. I think I stopped sharing, right? Resume sharing. Okay, no guarantee that it would work for you, even though you can enjoy the code. Locally, it's guaranteed to work for you. So that's what I've done. I got the key because you do need the OpenAI API key, but that's the only thing that you need. I also changed what they're doing. They're using GPT-3, and in the later labs, they're using GPT-4, but Turbo, and I'm using GPT-4o. You must have heard about this GPT-4o. O stands for Omni, and it can do anything. Just in case, so it works on the phone as well as on other things. It talks to you back real quick. It's flirty. It's, what else does it do? It understands pictures. You can point your camera at yourself and it will comment on your appearance. So it's quite alive. And that's why I decided to do this one, even though it doesn't really matter, because we're only interested in a conversation. So, okay, you set it up, you get the key, and then you do this autogen. So you might be interested to know, what is this autogen? What are you looking at? What kind of magic? That is right here. That's the home. So if I go there, you will see where it lives and what is it. So it seems to be a framework that was created by 2 people at Microsoft. And what it does is, probably picture shows you, you can create a conversational agent. That will be code, will be Python code, but what it will imitate is a separate persona. That persona can then talk to other people. And what we're going to do in the first lab is show 2 comedians and they will exchange jokes. So that's already becoming interesting. But you can imagine that you can collect a whole bazaar of people and they will be talking, communicating. That is what that framework is for. So let's now go. Let's look at the first one, and I'm not going to really run it. Maybe I'll do it later just to show the fact that yes, it runs. So we look at the code and we see that there's Autogen. That is what you need to install. Don't install Autogen. Instead, go to that home. The home of Microsoft, that home. And it will give you the instruction of how to do it, how to really install it, because you would tend to install something called Autogen, and it is really called pip install PyAutogen. Okay, so that's the only warning. After that, it will all work, and you bring a conversational agent. You tell this conversation agent that its goal is to be a chatbot. That is where it will find the key, because it will have to run for money. And I noticed that I spent 5 cents already in experimenting with this lab, so it's not much. And then you also say human. Do I want human in the loop? Because if you do, then it will ask you about additional information that it needs. If you don't, you say never. No, do everything yourself, or maybe with the help of another agent. Then you say, okay, tell me a joke, and it will tell you some joke. I tried to do it with ChatGPT. So if I go chatgpt.com and tell me a joke. Let's see, what I want to see, it's interesting. It does the same joke. Another joke. Let's do another joke. That's the second joke, and that too is what third one. Okay. Why don't skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts. All right. Now I understand what kind of jokes these are, and go back, say, tell a joke, but then we will stand up another agent, another comedian, and there will be a conversation. So will be a conversational agent called Kathy, and there will be a conversational agent called Joe. And then you give it a few parameters and enjoy their conversation. So they begin to talk to each other. You set it up. You tell it where that message should go. So it is Joe, and it's talking to Kathy, and Kathy accepts the challenge and says, okay, let's keep the jokes rolling. That's number one. All of that you can run yourself. So all you need to do is I prepared the download for you. So there are two ways to run it. Way number one, go to my lab. The link is given over there. Download to your computer, or maybe, maybe put it on Google Colab. We could try that. Now, I hope you know Google Colab. If not, this is where it is. It's collabresearch.google.com. And there you are. You don't have to set anything up. You upload your notebooks and run it there. I'm not going to try it now. All right. Then that's way number one. Way number two, if you look at their course, then you see the notebook. Let's wait for a second. It loads. Here you are. Okay, it loaded. Now you say file. You say download, and download as notebook. Okay, it downloaded as a notebook, and all you have to do is put it into your environment. I'm running locally. You could run also in Colab. Actually, can run here too. I wanted to avoid it. You can run it here. You can say run that first line like this. And it runs the first line. You don't feel great about that. You don't feel great because it runs for them, not necessarily that it will run for you. That's why I show you all the other environments. All right, that was great, but look what they have prepared. So let's go back, and I showed you how you can enjoy jokes. So it's your stand-up comedians for free, but it's an open question of quality, right? We can say that ChatGPT learns from humanity, and on the average, what is the average IQ of humanity? Now, ChatGPT, what is the average IQ of humanity? If you have that number, Okay. So the average is 100. That's what it is. What is mine? Anybody wants to volunteer their IQ? Okay, let's go to check. I'm going to chat. Do want to volunteer. No volunteers? Okay. Well, I have put myself in this position myself. It's my fault, but my IQ is 19% here. And yes, I'm a Mensa member. But that doesn't mean that you write well. Good, good. That's a good question. I can show you my card. That's a challenge, and I'm showing it to you. Okay, there you are. That's my card, and it has the number. So if you want to really check it, the number is 1069107. All right. And that could be a fake. But in any case, that doesn't give you a genius at all. What it gives you is just a number, and the guy can solve arithmetic problems. That's all that you get. Shakespeare, I don't think anybody can measure up to him, and that is the quality. So ChatGPT can talk in every language, but he cannot write like Shakespeare. And that's the quality. Now let's go back and let's continue series discussion. We were right here. One of the things that they show is how to do coding and financial analysis. Okay, and not only that, it's right here. What you can do with this new thing, and the new thing is AutoGen. So what AutoGen allows you to do is create different agents that can do different things. For example, this one is code executor. For that, you need some code, but it's a code executor agent. You give it the code, it runs it. That one is a code writer agent, and you tell it, code writer is the name. Now, you control what kind of agent that is, not by its name, but by this, what class you instantiate. And then you can start to ask it to write code. That is the default instruction that you give. And at that point, you might be scared because look, it's just like human. It's going to take my job away and write the code. So no, it will not. Just as nobody can write as Shakespeare, nobody can write as good programmer. But as a medium programmer, mediocre programmer, yes, it can write as such. So it is a tool. It's a great tool, but the humans have their place in the universe as well as this tool. So that's a long instruction that you give it. You can write your own. It says, let's start to look at what the instructions look like. Solve tasks using your coding and language skills. Suggest Python code or shell script. And then a long instruction that if you make mistakes, correct them. When you need to perform a task, explain what you do. In other words, the way you would hire a good programmer, give him all that instruction right here. Now, with that, you are saying, and now your task. The task is create a plot showing stock gain YTD, year to date, right? For NVIDIA and Tesla. And it will do it. Now, for me, practically, it is stuck right here. I run it a couple of times. It's not doing it, but for them, it ran. So what it will do is really will grab the stock prices and then run the code that it gets or writes and give you the picture. So for me, it only shows what it is going to do because right now it's not running. I can run it again. I mean, I can try to push it. I don't know. Let's maybe run this step. No, doesn't run. Okay, but for them it runs. And I'm sure somehow I can figure out what it was. I'm more interested not to show that it runs, but to show you an idea what it can do. It's multiple agents, the framework created by Microsoft, quite recent. If you look at the repository here, then here you will see it's all very actively developed. Who is developing it? I think really a big bunch of people. Somewhere. There you are. 300 contributors. That is the story. And that is it. You know, guys, I will pause for a second and I will let you ask questions, okay? I already see one question here. All right, Cher is asking, would it be possible to create a 3-agent chat dialogue to analyze a court case scenario? Now, the key here is analyze, right? Yes, you can create 3 agents and they will be talking blah, blah about that court case. For example, you can say agent, judge, defendant, and the claimer. But really what it should be doing, it's another research item. So it's a good try, good question. What we can do is we definitely like that question. And so I'm copying this question and preparing for our next conversation. That will be an interesting thing to do here, right? And next time we will be enjoying their conversation, but analyze, in other words, understand what you're doing. You know what ChatGPT does. It's very smart, but it only pretends that it really understands, only pretends that it is smart. So that will be the next step. Once you see what that does, you would want to try, and I promise that I will stop talking, but I got a question and got carried away. Yes, so we'll try it. I mean, that's a great question. Let's say question from chat. Okay. Very good. Wow, Nick says his IQ is 300. So that I need to check. By the way, it gave me what I wanted here. It says 60% of our population is that in that range. Can IQ be 300? No, it's impossible. So it was Nick will have to think of another answer. ChatGPT says it's not possible. Well, I really wanted to stop sharing and stop talking, give you another second to ask questions. So here I am. Okay, Adam, great question. Relying on Andrew Ng, no, we did not come to consensus on the best way to test LLM, not at all. And the problems he listed, they were how to make sure that's a good answer. It's much harder when we're talking about an open kind of question that you pose to LLM. Also, it's quite expensive if you want to seriously test. So he remains with, please, guys, send your ideas. You can write to him, or we'll see what we can collect during that week. All right, now I need to continue share the screen. Thank you. Thank you very much for your question. So, what platform do you suggest to implement LLM project in production? I think the most popular platform today is RAG. Chat. And I'm not explaining, I'm just giving you the terms. RAG architecture. That is most popular. Now, Microsoft definitely has the upper hand here because they are partnering with ChatGPT. So, at the risk of sounding like a guy who is bribed, but Microsoft plus RAG might be a better choice. Of course, I am biased. I got the credits from them. So yes, naturally, I try everything there first. Well, smart move if you have what 3 trillion market cap, then you have a few things going for you. All right, but let's do this. Let's go back. Let's find where we were before we got carried away, and let's close all the extra things and come to this. So what we were doing, we looked at the latest news. We looked at AI Agentic. Now that's the name of the course. So if you want to go deep into that, you can go, and to answer your question of what's the best platform to use, it's not Agentic. Agentic is too far, too new, too untried. It's for experimenting. But the regular question answering scenario is that. And I'll add any techniques for reducing or eliminating hallucination. So first of all, okay, good question, James, 1 second. So first of all, they are working, the creators of hallucinations are working on reducing hallucinations. That's number one. Practically, talk to it like you would talk to a human. A human sometimes misunderstands you and begins to answer the wrong question and gives you the wrong answer. So what you do is you correct him. So the best technique, practical is technique, is tell it you're hallucinating, that doesn't exist, let's fix it, and then automate that dialogue, because you cannot be at your terminal all the time, even though you try. So, and then you can delegate this task of eliminating hallucinations to another model. Send the output to the other model and ask it, does it make sense? Tell it honestly, I'm working with Open ChatGPT and you are Google Bard. So what do you think of that? And see how they nuke it out. All right, but obviously I didn't give you a good answer. It's a big thing and many people are working on it. So I don't pretend to know the best possible answer. How to do financial analysis with AI? It's right here. So what we do is go to my repository right here in our repository. I closed it, but we'll go there back, and that's financial analysis right here. So you create a bunch of agents and they do different things and they accomplish your task. Now that task though lacks brain, because AI lacks brain. What it can do is very specifically get that stock and then plot it, and then show me the results and tell me what you think about that. That's the extent of what it can do. Give it additional functions. But financial analysis, and I know, James, that I overpromised here. I told you I will show how to do financial analysis. But what is financial analysis? So that depends. If you think that just getting the stock and plotting it and asking ChatGPT what it thinks about it, then it is financial analysis. But if you want to create a new trading algorithm that doesn't exist, that will make you rich, that's also financial analysis, but of a completely different sort. So of that, it is not capable of right now. I don't know what would happen when it can. So on the back end, how does an LLM get the necessary data to answer the prompt? That's good. Now it is allowed, if you use, for example, this framework, Agentic, you tell it you're allowed to go to the internet. And you say it right here. Somewhere, human input always, and somewhere it also should say that you are allowed to browse and use the internet. That's how you do it. Then you can tell it to create the plot, store it somewhere. All of that it will do for you. So it's kind of a research assistant, but you are still the major brain behind the financial analysis. All right. Apologies. Now let's continue. Here we were, and we looked at that, and then I have another big piece of news for you right here. And I also need to give you one more link. I think it's here. Yes, that's the link. That's the one. So you see that picture. It shows you Sal Khan, who is the creator of Khan Academy. It's a tutoring academy. And he tells you an amazing story of how he was a tutor for his niece. And then he got more and more nieces and nephews because the family found out that there is free tutoring going on, and how he wanted to scale. Well, now he is scaled to the whole world. He teaches the whole world, and his company is 300 people, sponsored by Microsoft. So, first of all, that is what I should add. That's Sol Khan, and his very interesting presentation. I'm going back here, and I'm saying his interview. And I also found the book. In other words, that place where I say that I found the book, right here, I really did find the book on Audible. It's just published. He just wrote it. That's why the interview. And I usually listen to the books, so I'm giving you to that book on Audible. Now, that's a complete set of news. So, Audible book. All right. With that, I'll tell you my plan, because that's for everybody's education, and that is to find out how they do it. But this set of links is if you want to do it yourself. If you want to create the Khan Academy in a specific area, let us say you want to teach people how to do creative writing. They probably have creative writing. But if you want something that they don't have, and I have a few things in mind, I'm not going there yet, but I do have a few things that I want to teach. So what you need to do is this. You need to read about how Khan Academy does it. It's right here, and they will tell you how they build AI tutoring tools. But they don't tell you really the details. It's good introduction, but you need to go on after that. Then you will find interesting courses on Coursera, and especially that one. Let me show you here. You need a login, you need an account, but after that it's free. So that course is taught by a Penn professor, I think, university. Yes, that's him, Jules White, Vanderbilt University. And he is not doing the technical stuff. We all want to script whatever we do. He doesn't. He just teaches you how to create a plan of a class and how to follow through using ChatGPT. So he teaches very practical advice on what is called ChatGPT engineering, and better than I have seen anywhere else. That's real prompt engineering with extreme amount of practical advice on how to do it, how to talk to ChatGPT, even though he, at this time of recording, used ChatGPT 3.5, but the advice are still good, except for right now, there are no practical limits to how long your question can be. At this time, there were. Other than that, that's what you need to do, and you'll get the feeling how to use the tool manually. That's step number one. Step number two is you can look at all the other courses because they teach you how you almost get to code, but it's still not coding. It's still teaching you more and more of prompt engineering practically. And then finally, you need to know how to put it into code. For that, you use Andrew Ng course, which was one of the first ones that he wrote. So with that, I'll show you the learning path. If you want to really learn, you go here to this link and you learn nonstop. You see 43 by now. The very first one was exactly that. So I'm taking that link, and it taught you how to convert your knowledge into prompts so that it runs, not just stays in your brain, but also runs. So I'm putting it as a link, and that now scripted. All right, that is complete what I wanted to tell you, and I'm telling you honestly, everything that I'm working on, some things are probably useful and some might make money, so I'm giving it all away. All right, and then I have a question from somebody. This is interest of mine, as I was developing classes for publishing on C plus belong to AI educators group. Okay, John, well, let's work on it together, right? Because it's a lot of work and everybody will have something to do. And yes, I know your interests are around this area. Again, this is interest of mine as I was developing classes for publishing. Now, I'm not developing for publishing. I am interested in supplementing our courses with AI component. But so we're not even competitors, and we can talk about how to do it. By the way, people are really interested in this tutor, and lots of people have already got on my waiting list for being educated. And also I have people who are willing to test what we will be doing. So great. I think we are at the beginning of something interesting. Now, share us a question. What will happen if Elon Musk owns OpenAI? That's a very good question, but by now I think that's a moot question because he's out of OpenAI completely. And I don't think that at the moment he would ever get control because Microsoft is watching very closely so that this ousting of Sam Altman and bringing him back, so such things shouldn't happen because the whole future of Microsoft depends upon it. So they have a seat on board, and I never saw it stated explicitly, but obviously they want to prevent that kind of theater show that we saw with Sam Altman. So no, Elon Musk will not own OpenAI as far as you can predict the future. All right, guys, I think it was an exciting conversation. I didn't give you a chance to talk with the voice. For that, you can play with ChatGPT. By the way, if you have not done it, I'm sure you have, but just in case, yesterday I tried it. So what I did is I already had ChatGPT application. Okay, the application was already on my phone. But what I did, first of all, it says I'm doing ChatGPT O, GPT-4o, and secondly, there you are. You can start talking to it, and it talks to you, talks very fast. Let's do some demo.
Sure, let's do a quick demo. You can ask me any questions and I'll respond quickly.
Okay.
Let's get started. User.
All right, it's talking. So try it if you haven't. All right, thank you very much, guys. Wish you all the best. Great week, great year. Thank you.